I'm in conversation with Ranjana Kamo, the best-selling #1 author at WiP, who has written 13 books and just released her 14th publication. Her book is called Mission Work-Life Harmony. Just before the pandemic, I had just come back to the country, and Ranjana had then released her previous book, which was called Mystery of Utmost Happiness. Ranjana, welcome.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be here talking with you today. It's just the best thing that can happen.
Do you recall we kicked off the WonderWoman series with you, Ranjana, way back in February, I think, February or March last year. So it's lovely to have you back again.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And it's such a pleasure and an honor to be here.
You're most welcome. You are a regular for writing every week on WiP about something or the other. So everyone's very familiar with you. But I think today I want to discuss more about the book that you have just released. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and tell us something about that?
The book is called Mission Work-Life Harmony. I'll just show it to you. The paper is glossy, so it's going to shine, but this is how it is, Mission Work-Life Harmony.
Wonderful. So I'm going to read this chapter from your book, Ranjana. This says, note from the author right at the very beginning, which gives the essence of the book. Contradictions and paradigms make our life interesting as well as bizarre. We want a meaningful and exceptional life, and yet we do everything in our capacity to pursue repetitive, mundane, and cliched activities. Oh, well said. Career and life are both important, as one without the other becomes impossible. The pleasing harmony between the two may look like a distant dream, but it is not impossible. This handbook takes you through a journey that unravels the various secrets to achieving this harmony between career and life. So I'm so glad that the forenote is well, the note itself says it all. I have gone through a few chapters. I haven't yet finished the book, but it is lovely to see what it is all about. Right?
Oh, that's wonderful, ma'am. I didn't know you had got the book.
No, come on. I was going to interview you, so I had to do that.
That's lovely, ma'am. My day is made.
I love the fact that you have brought in little experiences from your work life to show that it can be done, it's not impossible, and how at different points in time, the environment is actually giving you the signal that it is not possible, and you have fought that at every stage. Which is your favorite? Tell me some of your favorite things in this book, which you think the readers ought to know about.
Yes, I really like the chapter on passion, because that is one thing which really helped me realize that work-life harmony was possible. It could be done, because when I decided to start writing, it was initially, I used to write poetry when I was in school and college. But once I moved to work, I think there was a gap of almost 20 years before I started writing my first book, my first fiction. And that happened, while I was driving to work, and I suddenly, this idea clicked that, this is the book I'm going to write. But then I said, how can I write? Because I don't have the time. When I come back home, I just have my dinner and go to sleep. So that once I started making time for my passion, I realized that with a little discipline, you can do it. And, slowly the other things fell in place, and I was able to write this book within 6 months, in spite of having a very hectic work schedule and being all alone at home, because those were those 6 months when I was alone, because my mother was abroad with my brother. And, being alone, people will probably not realize it, but then all the responsibility falls on you. And there's so much running around to do. You're managing your household, you're managing your work, and all of a sudden you realize that something has gone wrong. Probably the water pump is not working. You can't leave your work, and you have to get this repaired. And then you realize that you need a very strong circle of support. That's another thing which is very important for work-life harmony. So those, and like you very correctly mentioned, that, signals from life, signals from the environment, signals from people, signals even from some small children. Sometimes they'll utter something and then you realize it just hits you. Yes, why am I not doing this? What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Because sometimes I feel that, this is life is a privilege. It's a gift. And we cannot just spend it sitting behind a laptop under an artificial light in the office. There's so much out in the world, and we must embrace it.
That's really true. I think very well said. And we tend to procrastinate one thing over another. And I know a lot of women leaders that I coach, they talk about that how with children, with the parents, with husbands, the priorities and the work, the thing which is their passion, it just takes a backseat. And I think some of the examples that you've given, and considering that you were in a regional role and a kind of role which really worked on deadlines and month ends and stuff like that, that you were able to take away this time. I think that itself is the passion bit of it is so lovely. I'm glad actually the whole pandemic situation has reminded people that how it is so important not to leave your passions behind, because life is so uncertain with all that is happening.
True, true. And there's one of my ex-colleagues whom I spoke to recently, and he mentioned this. He said, Ranjana, pandemic made me realize something. I took a leave for 6 months because of some issues at home due to Corona. And those 6 months they made me realize what life is. I had missed out on so much. And that's exactly what it is. We miss out on so much and we realize it very late. And then you feel that, oh my God, I have wasted so much time. I could have done so much. People, they leave their vacations till the end of life. And by the time they go on a vacation, they'll be 60 years or 70 years. And that's the time when everything is hurting. They can't walk, they can't climb steps. And how do you enjoy the mountains if you are going for a vacation at that age? Why take it early in life?
That's true. Well said, well said. I would like to tell our members who don't know, I think everyone knows that WiP that Ranjana is really makes wonderful motivational videos. It's her mission in life, and correct me if I'm not, Ranjana, that people find a lot of chaos in their life. How can she help them simplify things? Some of her videos, things like about getting over inferiority complex, about how not to be taken for granted, have actually had views which is tens of thousands, because those are the very popular ones. I would like you guys to check out her YouTube channel as well, because she's very regular with it and she posts on social media, on Insta and on Facebook regularly. That was something I wanted to say, Ranjana, because
thank you, ma'am.
I know that you are very, very committed and dedicated to that. I think besides this, I want you to tell a couple of anecdotes which helped you or inspired you to write this book. I've read some of the ones in the previous chapters about your thing, but tell me about the critical one which captured the essence of the book.
There's so many, because actually, I wanted to put down all my experiences into one book. I had written a lot in my previous book, which was The Mystery of Utmost Happiness. But then, there was so much that was left out. And once I just thought about these experiences, I felt that this exactly fit into this framework of mission work-life harmony. And I was calling it work-life harmony and not work-life balance, because balance expects 50% equal weightage, which is not possible with our lifestyles and with our, career aspirations. So I call it harmony. And that's the reason, when I thought of putting all these experiences in one book, I called it work-life harmony, because all these experiences actually will translate into harmony in work life.
Actually, I was telling an HR person the other day that this is a beautiful world. I said one of my friends at WiP has defined it, because work-life balance, as you rightly said, it can never actually totally be balanced. So my boss and used to say, call it work-life integration. That how would you integrate the two, which is another way. But harmony is even a more positive word than integration. And I think very well said about that. So that is really nice. So this captures some of your experiences at work. I saw about things that how it was difficult to navigate. That's how you started from the early chapters that I saw. And you managed to capture the ones that you missed out in the previous book. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I would say that, because there was some, because the previous book, I think it was one of my first self-help books, real self-help book, because I did write something before that, but those were not as, the same in-depth study that I did for this one. So then I realized that there's so much more I can talk about. And then this book came into being. So I said, at least it's a written record. Probably if I get dementia later in life, I can read.
That is the only reason I feel that I ought to write for my grandchildren. So one day they said, no, Granny was not too bad about the things
Yes,
that she did. I think
yes, ma'am.
that's a great idea to put these things in. For the
Right.
members at WIP, from whatever you know about the kind of challenges that women at work go through, and a whole book is about that. But if you had to summarize two, three things that they should ought to do this, and you're very good with giving them the three things that I think you should follow, or four things that you need to do to really not go crazy about, and overwhelmed about the kind of things that you're handling, what would they be?
I think the first and foremost is taking care of yourself, which we always ignore, especially our health. With my work, I realized, we were spending so much time in office, and there was no time to have your meals. They, we would either skip them, or we were eating from a packet, and anything that is coming out of a packet is bad. It is the worst kind of thing you can eat. Or we were just surviving on cups of tea and coffee. And my health took such a bad toll. I started getting a lot of problems, and then I became so overweight. And then, that is one thing I realized, that we must. And, I'll actually thank one of the colleagues because of whom I started losing weight. Because I, I remember I entered the lift, and I am looking at this guy who used to be, I think, 200 or 250 kgs, and he looked so slim. And I was like open mouth and staring at him, and he must be thinking that I'm looking so handsome. That's why she's probably admiring me. And I was like, my God, what happened to him? He must have lost 150 kgs. And, and then I came back, and I was sitting on my chair in my cabin, and I said, if he can do it, so can I. I can also lose weight. And same day, I went and bought a stationary bike, and I started doing 15 kilometers a day. And I think within 9 or 10 months, I had lost 15 kgs. And after losing that weight, I realized that good health is really very important. And I started cooking for myself, and I would make the food properly. I mean, I would not skip out on anything. And that really helped me a lot. And then I realized that all those years when I was just missing out on food and eating all that junk, I was really, really torturing my body. So I think the very first and foremost is taking care of yourself, because if you're not healthy, like they say, you can't pour from an empty cup. So that is very important. Second is, I think, to have clear boundaries.
Yeah.
Which I'm very, very careful about. I can actually, I've seen that I can really antagonize people by, telling them, okay, no, I will not do this. I will only do this, and I can, these are the boundaries, because then they really upset your schedule. And why I do that now is because I have gone through that. I have been manipulated at work, and people really depending on me for handling their part of job also. And then that really made me go crazy with all that extra work that I was taking. And now then, I think that is what made me realize that boundaries are very important. So I think second point is on the boundaries. And third, I would say, is to be happy in spite of all the challenges in life. That can really change the mindset. It can change the way you look at life. And it can really make all the big problems appear minuscule. Because that's what I've learned till now. That is, I think the takeaway for me from every experience in my life is that, you need to be happy, irrespective of whatever is happening to you or to the environment. Because the problems will be there. They are not going to go away.
I think gratitude for what you have brings that, because if you're at least gratitude for what you have, you could still kind of chase happiness and say that. You have a very wonderful bit about superhero, one of the chapters, right?
Yes.
I loved that bit of it. I just want to make sure that I capture that. You don't need a cape to be a superhero. One who has survived the ups and downs of life is a superhero. So I think this really says it all, because all of us, and that is why the logo of WIP, if you know, is with a cape.
Exactly.
Behind it, because I completely believed in it, that women although I always talk about it, that we have this immense need for control in everything that's happening. As a family having meal, where are we getting the meal from? Where am I going? Who's fetching who? What time are they coming? How are we entertaining? What's for lunch and dinner plan? We have this excessive need for that. And also because of which we manage everything very, very well as well. But that puts immense pressure on us in a day when it is, you have deadlines and you have to make a presentation or something like that. So I think this bit about anyone who has come on the other side, like you did, the power of hindsight is helping you today say that I wish, that I was able to antagonize people. I won't use such a hard word because I'm sure that you have the ability to say no, which a lot of people struggle with. And I think that is somewhere that you can pass on that wisdom to women who are, finding it difficult how to say no. So that is lovely, this thing. So your final chapter on this bit, which is something I've not reached till, tells people as to they need to harmonize this bit instead of fighting it. Is that it?
That's right. And every time you achieve, even if it is a very small achievement, reward yourself. And
good idea.
Everything, the smallest, the minuscule thing also that you do, reward yourself. And that reward need not mean that you have to celebrate or anything. You can just go for a walk, you can listen to some music, but do that, tell yourself that you did well.
So, that's how we train our dogs. You give a treat for everything you do.
For
So,
everything.
Stay, sit, shake hand. They learn everything if you give them a treat. So I know that Pavlov's conditioning works in every which way, but this is a fabulous way of saying that reward yourself and pamper yourself or do whatever people do. But this is wonderful, Ranjana. I want to say that from some of the fictions you wrote, from a book of poem you started with, and some fictional books you wrote, I'm very glad that you're on this motivational, because you are yourself a coach, a happiness coach, as you call yourself, and all of these things. It's very well said. How do you see your journey planning out in the future?
It's difficult to say. I really want to, through my books and my talks, I just feel that, if I can help people, I think that would be the best. Even if one person is able to benefit from it, I'll be very happy. I'll feel that, my purpose has been, taken care of. It's served its purpose. Because even if one person gets benefited, I'm sure that person can help so many others.
Very well said, Ranjana. I think your videos and all your messages and such fantastic motivational thoughts that you keep putting and day after day are already helping, and at least food for thought for a lot of us. But this bit about if any of the people who can read them and understand them, that would be very nice. Thank you, Ranjana. Please keep sharing all these thoughts with us and motivating all the women. One thought or something from the book that is very dear to you before we go.
Sure. I think I'll read it out because I always insist on leading a meaningful life. So I have a paragraph here which talks about what is a meaningful life. So I just read it. So what does a meaningful life mean? It means that you need a purpose, nurtured relationships, experiences to cherish, the feeling of being of some significance in your sphere, the ability to live in the moment, and the desire to create something of value in order to have a feeling of fulfillment and be contented in your life.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's really nicely said.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ranjana. It's lovely chatting with you. We'll hopefully in the months to come, you will have little excerpts of the book come in and your thoughts come while you're sharing it at the WiP platform. And I really personally want to thank you. And I always tell you that you are my one soldier in the editorial team who is always bringing the best of herself every time and sharing that. Thank you so much for your contribution all the time to keeping the platform.
Thank you.
Live.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for having me. It was lovely, discussing about my book, and I really thank you with all my heart. You've always been there to support, and being in WiP is another, different dimension to life. It's definitely very empowering, I would say, and contented.
Thank you so much. You
Thank
take
you.
care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Bye, ma'am. Bye-bye.